everyone, my name is Marian Guevara, and a huge hello and a huge thank you to anyone who was just clicking on this video or checking out the channel. Whether you are a new subscriber or no subscriber, your viewership, like always, is greatly appreciated. So today that I'm filming this video, it is June 2nd, so it's the middle of the year, and because it's the middle of the year, I thought I'd do a mid-year freakout book tag. I cannot believe it's already the middle of the year, but here we are, and well, let's just get started, and you get to see how my reading has been going throughout the first half of 2025. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2025, and I'd have to give that to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is historical fantasy, and in my opinion, it's peak historical fantasy. Clarke does an immaculate job of blending actual history with fantasy and making it feel seamless, making it feel legit. Another thing that I really admire about this book is that it avoids the pitfall of anachronism. Characters don't feel as if they belong in our modern times with our modern sensibilities, but just plopped into the Regency period, because this book is meant to take place during the Napoleonic Wars. There's this constant feeling of authenticity, despite the fact that there is fantasy involved. And this sense of authenticity is something that I look for when it comes to historical fantasies or just historical fiction in general. This is such a rich, lush story, and I think up to now, it is still the longest book I've read so far in 2025, and there was never at one point while I was reading where I felt, oh, this is taking too long, or I'd rather read something else. Like, no, this story had me in its grip the entire way through. So yeah, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, definitely joining my favorite books of 2025 list. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2025, and I'm going to have to give that to A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. Now, this is the second book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series, the first book being The Tainted Cup, and this happens to be a fantasy mystery series, and I've been really enjoying that subgenre. And this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and it did not disappoint. This is actually longer than The Tainted Cup, and I got through this quickly, at least quickly for me. And when I got to the end of the book, my immediate reaction was, where's the third? Because I really want a third book right now, and I really hope that Bennett isn't planning on making this a trilogy, because his past series have basically all been trilogies, and I don't really want that for The Shadow of the Leviathan. I really would like to see this as a longer series, so we can get to see more of our main characters, Anna and Din, seeing their partnership, their relationship, seeing more of this world. So yeah, hopefully this will be a much longer series and I get to read more from Bennett, because this is shaping up to be one of my favorite series of all time. So the third question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I have two answers for this. The first one is Discovery by J.A.J. Minton, or John, Amy, and Jacob Minton, the lovely people behind Talking Story. I'll link the channel down below. They have put out a book, which is the first in a series, and it's been described as Lovecraftian. But, you know, obviously they're kind of doing their own thing with it. And honestly, you say the word Lovecraftian, I'm immediately intrigued, okay? That's the foot in the door for me. Just using the word Lovecraftian, because I enjoy some H.P. Lovecraft. So looking forward to that. I have heard a lot of initial buzz. Apparently it's great. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so hopefully I really enjoy it. I have a feeling that I am. I have a feeling that I am going to enjoy Discovery, so I'm very excited to get to it. The other answer to this question is Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken, who is also from Tori Talks, another booktube channel. So I will also link her channel down below. This one has a necromancer bounty hunter. Need I say more? Also, the cover is amazing. All right. I've never read anything from Tori or the Mintons before, so I am very excited to get to these reads. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this is a no-brainer for me. It would have to be A Tangle of Time by Josiah Bancroft. This is the second book in the Hexologist series, and similar to Shadow of the Leviathan, this is a fantasy mystery series. So it's coming out on September 9th. If you've read The Hexologists and loved it, I highly recommend that you pre-order the sequel. And if you haven't read The Hexologists, I highly recommend that you do so, especially if you are a fan like me of fantasy mysteries. Number 5 is Biggest Disappointment, And this will have to go to the Weird Tales of Dorothy K. Haynes. This is part of the British Library Tales of the Weird, a collection that I love to collect from, but sadly this was just a dud for me. I know that when it comes to short story collections, I've seen more often than not, when people talk about it, they mention that they're not fans. And one of the main reasons is that they often find them to be mixed bags. Now, for me, I'm pretty selective with my short story collections, at least the ones that I take in and read, so I find myself enjoying them most of the time. However, this time, with The Weird Tales of Dorothy K. Haynes, it was very much a mixed bag. I liked about half, and out of that half, I only really enjoyed a handful. I think my main problem was that these stories were just too short. I forget how many there were, maybe like 20 something, but each of the stories were just very short. And while some of them might have interesting concepts, I felt that there just wasn't enough time for me to be invested. I don't mind stories that kind of end abruptly and kind of leave you wondering, because a lot of these stories did. However, there just wasn't enough that was given for me to, as I mentioned, just be that invested. Question number 6 is your biggest surprise, and I'm going to have to give this to Observatory Mansions by Edward Carey. Now, the thing is, I did not go into this book blind. I knew about the premise. I knew that it was going to have this quirky vibe to it, but I guess I'm just surprised with how much I ended up loving this book. And honestly, when it comes to favorite books of the year, my most favorite, I guess, would be Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And then after that, it would be Observatory Mansions. I think another thing that really surprised me was, while I went into this book thinking that I'm going to be sort of amused by all the quirkiness and the oddities that it kind of proposed in the summary, I was surprised with how moving and sad it was at the same time. So yeah, Observatory Mansions, I did an entire book review on it, really enjoyed it, and I look forward to reading from Edward Carey more in the future. Question number 7 is favorite new author. So that could be a debut author or just an author that is new to you. And I'm going to cheat and give 2 answers because I'm indecisive like that. So that would be Terry Pratchett and Robin Hobb. I have the second book of the Farseer trilogy out because the first one is all the way up there and I'm currently reading this one. But yeah, these 2. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. And yes, I do have an answer for this, and that is Carrot from the City Watch series. And Carrot won me over when he first appeared in Guards. He's basically the definition of a himbo. He's very good looking, physically attractive. He's simple, not stupid. But what I really love about him is that he's earnest. He's hardworking. He believes in the good of man. He believes in the proper qualities of a watchman. He believes in giving people or ensuring that people have a voice in protecting the law. Oh, you just gotta love Carrot. I feel like if you don't love Carrot as you're reading City Watch, there's something wrong with you. Everyone loves Carrot. Question number 9 is your newest favorite character, and I'm gonna have to cheat again and give 2 answers. So the first one is Fitz from the Farseer trilogy. While I was reading Assassin's Apprentice, I became so endeared to Fitz. You know, you understand his background, his status as a bastard, how it's gone on to affect the way he can form relationships. You're so intimate with his feelings, his thought processes. You understand the decisions he makes. At least I understood the decisions he makes. At the end of the day, Fitz just felt genuine to me. He felt like a genuine person, and I've become very attached to him. I am currently reading Royal Assassin, and I am afraid to continue on, honestly, because I can see the impending doom, written on the walls. And I know this boy is going to get hurt. And I really don't want to see that happen. Now, I couldn't leave this question without mentioning another character. This one is also from the City Watch series. And that is Sam Vimes. Now, Vimes and Carrot are my 2 favorite characters from the City Watch series. I mean, even if they're very different, Carrot with his optimism, and then Vimes, who is very grizzled, very cynical. However, one of my favorite aspects of the City Watch books that I've read so far is seeing Vimes's internal struggle. On one hand, he's just so done with society. He's done with the injustice, the hypocrisy of it. But then on the other hand, he has this burning, fervent desire to see that justice is dealt out. And you see these two sides sort of like in conflict with one another. It just makes for intriguing reading. And yeah, I couldn't leave Sam Vines out because he has definitely become a favorite character of mine and he ought to be mentioned. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. No book has made me cry this year. However, The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence does have a bittersweet ending that I'm sure is going to bring tears to a number of people. So if you've read The Book That Wouldn't Burn, The Book That Broke the World, you're going to be in for that when you get to The Book That Held Her Heart. And if you haven't read the library trilogy by Mark Lawrence, I highly recommend that you give the first book, The Book That Wouldn't Burn, a try. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy. I'm going to cheat and give you a multiple because it's a series, and that is City Watch series by Terry Pratchett. I love these books. Guards, Men at Arms, Feet of Clay. I'm itching to get to Jingo. Like right now. Like I'm so tempted to just buy a copy of Jingo right now so I can get to it. But yeah, this one has been such a treat for me. They're humorous novels, but they have quite a lot to say about, justice and society in general. It's definitely a favorite series of mine, for sure, and it's made me very happy. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year or received. Now, I see your question, and I raise you 3 answers. So the first one here is The Hexologist by Josiah Bancroft. This is the fine press edition done by Subterranean Press. So this is signed and numbered. My number is 392, and there we have a signature from Josiah Bancroft. And if you've read Hexologist and you love it and you're interested in getting a copy of this gorgeous edition, I will actually leave a link down below to Subterranean Press's site showing you where you can purchase this. Now, the next book I have here is The Way of Adan by Philip Chase. This one is done by The Broken Binding. And this one is also signed and personalized. Not personalized, it's signed and numbered. So I have number 987, and there's Philip Chase's signature. Just gorgeous, gorgeous book. And got gold sprayed edges or gilded edges. As for the third book, you might notice this gap over here because it was containing Volume 2 of the collected works of H.P. Lovecraft. This contains his work from 1926 all the way to 1930. These are fine press editions done by Chiroptera Press. There are actually trade versions that are out there that, have the same content and everything. It's just that these, are of higher quality. So, as I mentioned, Volume 2, you got Cthulhu over here. Just gorgeous, gorgeous art on the front and the back. If you're a Lovecraft fan, highly recommend that you check this out. Although this and Volume 1 are now out of print, you have to get them secondhand. But yeah, if you can find them for a good deal and you're a Lovecraft fan, I highly recommend that you give them a look. Give them a look-see. Now for the last question, we have, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I have quite a number here. I will get to this one. Hold me accountable to this. I will get to The Way of Adan by Philip Chase. Okay, I will start the Adan trilogy for sure by the end of 2025. That is a promise. And then I also have to get to, some of the books that are part of my 12 books of 2025 challenge that I started separately on Instagram. We have The Lions of Arasan by Guy Gavriel Kay. We had Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. And then The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden I need to get to. So yeah, this doesn't cover all of the books that I need to get to on that challenge because these are just the ones that I physically own. So I'm trying to balance it out. I know I'm going to commit to this challenge, but at the same time, I don't want to force myself. So I'm just waiting for the mood to show up and convince me to read them at the right time. So we'll see. So that was the mid-year freakout book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know, how has your reading been going on for the first half of 2025? Has it been going great? Not so great? Will you be doing the mid-year freakout book tag? I would love to watch other people's tags. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!